It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men, and if that spirit goes not forth in life, he is condemned to do so after death, to witness what he cannot share, but might have shared, and turn to happiness. Christmas! And the final touch. And it lights up. Hello future me and all you wonderful people out there watching. So like I said in my last video, today we're going to do a Muppet Christmas craft. I'm going to be recreating my Marley pins from 3 years ago, and these were actually a recreation of another pin I did 4 years ago. I decided that I wanted to recreate these ones because there's quite a bit of wear and tear on these. The felt has fallen apart. I should have realised this because when you cut out felt so small, it hasn't got anything to hold on to, and of course it's gonna fray. So this time we're needle felting. Okay, so I have all of my tools. So I've got my foam to needle felt on. I've got my Sue's Country Creations colour-coded needle felting tools. I've got this single needle holder. It did come plain, but I don't like the feel of wood that has been untreated, so I just painted it with nail polish. And then I have a bunch of colours. We've got 2 greys, and I've got some black and some white. And I also have some black chain, because I apparently bought a bunch of this like 15 years ago and I've still not gone through it all. And I think that's all I need. I start off with a small bundle of wool. It's about the size of a walnut. I'd like to pull it apart and mix it back together again multiple times before loosely forming it into the needed shape, as I find this helps to felt the fibres together better. Always use less than you think you should, as you can always add more. Do as I say, not as I do, as you will see later on in the video. For this project I'm using my orange, green and blue needles, which are triangular needles in 38, 40 and 42 gauges respectively. Starting off with the orange needle, which is a 38 gauge. When I work around the edges, I always make sure I go really slow because my fingers are right there, I don't want to stab them. And always concentrate when you're doing this, or you will stab yourself. So I may have worked using the orange needle for a little bit too long, as I didn't end up using the green one for as long as I probably should. The idea behind working down in needle sizes is to get the felting tighter and tighter. The smaller the needle, the smaller the hole it creates, which gives you a tighter felt and less visible holes on the surface of your felting project. When I use the blue needle, I'm mainly finalising the shape of the features. In fact, I pretty much use this one for the rest of the project just because of how small things end up getting. And because I have my brooches from last time, I can use these to check the sizes against, because I actually quite like the size of those original felt brooches. When it comes to the features, make sure you use less wool than you think you will. Like, pick up a bundle and then pull it in half just to make sure, and only use the needle in the areas where that wool needs to attach, so don't go outside the borders of the shape you need to put on. So I'm adding like a half circle at the top where the brow bone is, and then a triangle below that for the bridge of the nose all the way down to the top lip, and then I can build on top of that shape the features that I need. So I add some more wool to make up the nose and the nostrils, and then I add the lower jaw below the top lip. I think I added too much wool when I was working on the lower jaw, so like I said before, don't do what I am doing, do as I say and halve that amount of wool. You can add more later. Then I add a small amount of black for the inside of the mouth. And when he starts to look like Sean Bean, you know you're on the right track. So for the brow hair, I take a small piece of felt and I loosely felt it in place. I want to keep the bushy appearance of eyebrows, so I don't want to completely felt it in, but I want to make sure that it's not going to just fall out. So I just make sure I get all the edges and then go through the middle a few times and just make sure I get all the straggly ends tucked in place. Then I added some eyes. For the pupils, the rule of use less is really, really important here. Take as much as you think you need and halve it. Trust me, learn from my mistakes. Also, make sure you don't poke the needle in the same place too many times, as you'll just end up burying that little piece of wool inside what you're felting. Then the final thing was to add a little more bulk to his cheeks, because I realised he needed it. And then he was done. Now on to Waldorf. So nose first, then lower jaw, and I added his moustache the same way I added Statler's eyebrows. Then the black inside his mouth. And then I added the eyes. For Waldorf's eyes, he has quite heavy eyelids, so I rolled up a small ball of wool so it was shaped a bit like an oval, then folded it in half to create a flat edge to act as the eyelid going across the eye, and then very carefully poked it on to make sure I wasn't going to cover up parts of the eye that I didn't mean to. Those little pieces of wool are quite easy to manipulate as long as you prepare them well beforehand. This might be just rolling those bits of wool in between your fingers or laying it out on your foam and felt a few times. Just take your time and maybe even have a practice piece going on at the same time when you make these, if you choose to make them. Now the hair. I hope I describe this well. So you're going to take some roving and you're going to find the halfway point of this little bundle and place it on the back. And you're going to make shallow pokes. You're going to be very careful with your stabbing here. You want it to be quite shallow so that the needle doesn't go through to the other side. Then once you anchored that in place, you want to fold this hair in half so that it doubles up. So you just use shallow pokes or even a really steep angle and then cut it into shape. I had to repeat this a few times to get the hair how I wanted it to look. But remember, less is more. You can always add more later on. It's much easier to add more than remove. So I decided to use some felt as a backing for the head and to act as a base for felting on the shirt. Fortunately, I was able to use my old brooches to draw around to get the shape, so I guess this means good luck to any of you making these yourself. Sorry. Now I was a bit lazy with the shirt portion and just felted a bunch of wool into vaguely the right shape, which I feel quite bad about after watching Abby Cox's amazing video on the costumes in Muppet Christmas Carol. The attention to detail those costumers gave to all the costumes in the movie, but don't think I have the right fabric to make the shirts, and after fighting with the mayor's shirt where I made those Nightmare Before Christmas earrings, I didn't want to go through that again, so I just went with a lazy option. The arms were a long tube that I had felted and then cut in half in the middle, and then I felted the cut ends a little bit, but I was going to add a little cap on the end as hands, so I didn't have to do that for too long. And now they're done, it's glue time. I'm just using some basic all-purpose glue. It works quite well. I don't know how it will end up in the long term, but for now it's fine. I'm just avoiding the hair so it doesn't seep through. Next up, it's the chain. For each brooch I used 3 pieces of 9 links of chain, which was about 6 centimeters. So 1 set of 9 links for each hand, which would dangle down, and then another set of 9 to connect the 2 hands together. I quite like the idea of linking the 2 brooches together with a long piece of chain like a cardigan clip, and to make it look interesting I used 2 pieces of chain in that link between the brooches, one longer than the other, just for some interest. 2 longer lengths were 17 centimeters and 23 centimeters ish. Before I attach the chains to the brooches, I'm going to quickly felt on some thin strips of felt to act as cuffs of the chains. I'm doing this now not because I forgot to do it before. And I like to sew the chain on at the hands. I used some nice thick polyester thread, and that piece of chain that tie the hands to each other can be sewn on first before the hanging chains are added, or all the chains can be attached together and sewn at the appropriate lengths. I think the former is probably easier, I just didn't think of it until now, which isn't very helpful for me, but for you it's hopefully helpful. And then I attached the long chain to the 3rd link on the shorter, longer chain. So the 23 centimeter chain, I attached it to the 3rd link in on the 17 centimeter chain. Once both brooches have chain sewn on, I can attach the longer chain to the hand chain. So the inside hand of each Muppet, if you remember Waldorf, is he on the right or the left? Okay, so Statler appears on the audience's right and Waldorf on the left, so the inside hand on both of those is where you want to attach your chain so they link together. And then to back them I just glued some more felt on and attached some brooch backs, and then they are done. They are finally done. And here they are. I said to myself that this time would be the last time that I recreate these, but whilst I was making them, I kind of wanted to make them again and improve on them again. Maybe make them more 3D because they're quite flat, but you know what? I'm really happy with them. I'm gonna put them on. Oh, and yes, I am wearing the same jumper from the original video 3 years ago. I always wear last season's clothes. They're off center, but you get what I'm going for. I love them. They're so cute. I love Muppet Christmas Carol as well. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you do too. So I got my year in review email from YouTube. Didn't think they'd send those to people with only 53 subscribers, but it's quite interesting. So this year alone, I have gained 33 new subscribers, which I'm very grateful for, and 1,399 new views. And people spent 4,619 minutes watching my videos, which is an insane number to me. I'm making these videos pretty much for myself. That's why I start my videos off by saying hello to my future self. The videos are to act as a personal tutorial on how I make things, because I tend to make things once and I then forget how I made it, and if I want to make it again a few years down the line, I've forgotten how I did it. So I make the video as a personal diary of how I did it, and if it helps other people make things as well, that's a really good feeling. I also got 84 likes over the last year, and I think I only started uploading again in August or something. So considering how small my channel is, that is very much appreciated, so thank you if you're watching. I can literally see your engagement with my content, and thank you. So if you were paying attention early on in the video, you might have noticed that the colour of the faces is slightly different now to what it was in the beginning of the tutorial. That's because I actually started off using a different colour. So I started off with this dark colour, and then I moved on to this colour because it was paler, but it turned out kind of blue. And then I ultimately made these ones. So now I have 2 more Statler and Waldorfs, or Marley and Marleys, that I think I'm going to give away. So I average about like 19 views per video, and if you've made it this far, then you are in the chance of entering the giveaway. I'm going to give a pair away on YouTube and a pair away on my Instagram. The link to my Instagram is in the description box below if you want another chance to win one of these. I'm going to box them up and then randomly pick who wins what, and I'll pick the winner on New Year's Eve. So let's see how many days. Okay, 11. We've got 11 days until New Year's Eve. I'll pick a winner when I come home from work that day. I'll announce it both on YouTube in a pinned comment and on my Instagram. I'll find a way to like make it very clear that it's a random pick, because I know hopefully my friends will enter this giveaway, so that you know I'm not just picking my friends to win these. So to enter the giveaway to win one of the Marley and Marley brooch sets, I just need you to be subscribed to my channel, obviously, and to leave me a comment below telling me who your favourite Muppet is. It doesn't have to be one of the Muppets from Muppet Christmas Carol, it can be any of them. It can be one from a different film or one from the Muppet Show itself. It can be any Jim Henson Muppet. I'm just curious to know, and it'll enter you in a chance to win one of the brooches, and it's open worldwide. Fingers crossed postage won't be too much post-Brexit. So yeah, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment telling me who your favourite Muppet is, and like the video if you want to. It's not going to give you an extra entry into the giveaway, but it'd be nice if you liked my video. So this is likely going to be my last video of 2020, so I just hope you have a nice rest of the year. If you celebrate Christmas, then I hope you have a nice Christmas wherever you are. If you're in England, I hope you find a way to find some magic in the time, even though things have changed quite dramatically from how we were expecting to celebrate Christmas this year. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you enjoy whatever you do celebrate this time of year. And to everyone, Happy New Year. Fingers crossed we don't have to make any hindsight is 2020 jokes next year, because it'll be hopefully better than this one has been. And before I drone on a bit too much, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye! What am I doing? Oh, I'm stuck.